40 hours, 23 meetings. This is going to be the Prime Minister's agenda for his whirlwind tour of Tokyo. Modi kick-started this tour with a rousing welcome from the Indian diaspora, along with interaction with several children, a meeting with the Indian business community. Modi is in Japan on a two-day visit where he was going to be holding bilateral talks with heads of states. He will be attending the second in-person Quad Summit with US, Japan and Australian counterparts. He will be holding community and diplomatic engagements. He will also be holding bilateral talks with heads of state on varied topics, from the China challenge in the Indo-Pacific to the aftermath of the war in Ukraine. Prime Minister Modi's power-packed schedule is going to be followed by crucial Quad Summit and one on talks with Biden, Kishida and Anthony Albanese on day one.
मेरा नाम मित्सुकी है। मैं ग्लोबल इंडियन पांचवी कक्षा में पढ़ता हूँ। जापान में आपका बहुत स्वागत है। May I have your signature, please? May I have your signature, please?
तो कहाँ से सीख लिया तुमने हिंदी? हैं?
Yes, I learned.
हैं? बहुत अच्छा जानते हो? वाह! वाह! और जापानी में क्या लिखा है?
Same here. Same.
ये?
हिंदी में।
3 भाषा लिख दिया।
Prime Minister Modi is in Tokyo, and according him, a welcome in Tokyo were these children from a global Indian institution where there, of course, some of them Japanese, in fact, who are learning Hindi as well, Indian students as well, who were there, in fact, bearing these placards, writing down poems as well, welcoming the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister, of course, had a very interesting interaction with Ritsuki. Ritsuki, can you tell us what you told the Prime Minister?
I said 3 sentences. मेरा नाम रित्सुकी है। मैं ग्लोबल इंडियन इंटरनेशनल स्कूल के 5वीं कक्षा में पढ़ता हूँ। जापान में आपका बहुत स्वागत है। धन्यवाद।
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. You speak a lot of Hindi. You're fluent with Hindi.
I have prepared those 3 lines only.
Okay, but do you study Hindi? Are you studying Hindi? Okay. Do you like the language?
Yeah, I wish to get better, but I need more practice for that.
You can see those visuals of the Indian community which is present over here, and in large numbers. You can see that Indian community present and in fact acknowledging and cheering out loudly as Prime Minister Modi here arrives in Tokyo. You can see he's coming down right now to acknowledge his supporters who have come in here from the city of Tokyo and from across Japan. He is, of course, acknowledging them as they, of course, come here early in the morning, Tokyo time, in order to support him, wave at him, and, of course, chanting slogans as well as Prime Minister Modi here arrives in Tokyo to a jam-packed schedule. Just 40 hours and 23 engagements that Prime Minister Modi has as he, of course, meets with the Indian community. And you can see those cheers going out as Prime Minister Modi, of course, here arrives at the hotel. He is, of course, meeting with members of the Indian community. And you can see those members over here. Prime Minister Modi there acknowledging his supporters. As you can see, interacting with the crowds over here. A big crowd of the Indian community, which has in fact arrived here in Tokyo to in fact welcome Prime Minister Modi. कैसा लग रहा है? बढ़िया मोदी। अच्छा लग रहा है, हम बहुत खुश हैं मोदी। मोदी जी से क्या उम्मीदें हैं जापान और इंडिया के रिलेशंस को लेकर?
It's going to be high. जय स्वामीनारायण, जय स्वामीनारायण।
हमारे मोदी जैसा कोई नहीं और जापान से रिलेशन बहुत अच्छा है। मोदी मोदी मोदी।
आप यहाँ पर कब से है जापान में?
20 साल से।
20 साल से है। और आपने रिलेशंस में क्या फर्क देखा है?
बहुत बड़ा फर्क देखा है। इंटरनेशनल सीन पे मोदी जी ने भारत का जो नाम बढ़ाया है और काफ़ी अच्छा लग रहा है।
You saw Prime Minister Modi. What are your expectations from this visit and Indo-Japan relations? You've been here for a while. Have you been living in Japan for a while?
we have been living here for more than 10, 12 years.
8 years. Yeah.
And I would say the expectations, we are on I would say we have a lot of expectations, yeah. So the relation is getting strengthened and strengthened. And the Indian-Japan relationship, not only it's getting limited, I'm saying it is going beyond limitation. Yeah, so we are really thrilled. Okay, we are very thrilled, and we are just I'm unable to say like what to say.
इस बार मोदी जी ने सबसे हाथ मिलाया है, इस तरफ भी गए हैं, उस तरफ भी गए हैं, छोटी बच्चों से नाम पूछा है और दिल उनसे मिलके बहुत खुश हो जाता है। हमारे तेजस्वी यशस्वी मोदी जी को देख के पूरा एक एनर्जी सी मिल जाती है, ऐसा लगता है हम अपने भारत के लिए बहुत कुछ कर सकते हैं, एक हमारी जान भी उनके साथ कर बिल्कुल तैयार है। और ये नारा क्या है?
जो 370 हटाए हैं वो टोक्यो आए हैं।
ये नारा लगाया आप लोग?
हाँ, आज कई बार वो मोदी जी जो टोक्यो आए हैं, हमेशा इतना प्यार देते हैं, वो यहाँ के लोग भी उन्हें इतना प्यार देते हैं, उन्हें ऐसा लगता है अपने दूसरे घर आए हैं।
जो राम को लाए हैं वो टोक्यो आए हैं, जो काशी सजाए हैं वो टोक्यो आए हैं, जो 370 हटाए हैं।
सबसे मिल पाए? हाँ, लोग उस पाए, हम लोगों ने शेक हैंड भी किया उन्हें।
उनको मोदी जी को लाना है हम लोग को। जो राम को लाए हैं वो भारत से जापान आए हैं, जो राम को लाए हैं वो जापान आए हैं, जो राम को लाए हैं वो जापान आए हैं, जो कसाई सजाए हैं वो जापान आए हैं, जो 370 हटाए हैं वो टोक्यो आए हैं, जो काशी को सजाए हैं वो टोक्यो आए हैं, जो काशी को सजाए हैं वो टोक्यो आए हैं।
My colleague Palmi Saha met with Indian businessmen in Japan last evening. Take a look.
In terms of this visit, is there a lot of expectation on how this visit could be taken forward as far as Indo-Japan relations are concerned?
Already for the past 6 years, India-Japan relationship has been cemented to a great extent. Now, with Modi with the new Prime Minister Kishida-san, it will go to the next heights. And a lot of opportunities, a lot of trade, everything is happening between India and Japan, and the best friendship is happening is India and Japan. Now with China-Japan relationship going down, India is to take over that space.
Okay.
So which is very good for our country, and not just IT or tourism, now construction, factory, all these areas, a lot of opportunity for the Indian skills to come to Japan and work.
Do you think that this relationship and the heights this relationship is achieving, it's all also started during the Modi Shinzo Abe period as well?
Yeah, definitely. That's was the main period when things have changed a lot, and it has changed big way. Now it's the second phase where we have Mr. Kishida, who's taking it to the next level with Mr. Modi.
Okay.
So we have this thing which is going really forward.
Any sort of challenges that you feel that are still there that should be ironed out by the two leadership?
Yes, I think there are a lot of scope for improvement.
Okay.
Always there's room for improvement. The main areas that we would probably like to work in the future, of course we have been working in different areas, and the main areas that will be beneficial for India-Japan is Japan requires a lot of manpower, and we have a lot of manpower. The only gap about the manpower is the Japanese language skills and the soft skills. From an Indian point of view, when we say skills, we always refer to technical skills. But that is never sufficient for Japan. We should totally start building on soft skills and start building on language skills.
Okay.
So that will improve a lot of things between India and Japan. And if policies are right, if things go right, I think in terms of employment, this could be the next Gulf, what has been 40 years back for us in India.
Okay.
Right? This could be the next Gulf, because that is the shortage, that is the amount of shortage that you have.
Two-day visit to attend the Quad Summit and lots of bilaterals on the agenda to talk about the biggest talking point, the most important, significant Quad in-person meeting is with us. Palmi Saha, she's joining us live from Tokyo right now. Palmi, it's going to be a hectic, busy day for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Just take us through the details of what today really looks like.
That's right. The Prime Minister, of course, arrived in Tokyo early this morning, Tokyo time, and he is, of course, going to attend a lot of meetings. There are a lot of engagements. There are one-on-one meetings with businesses, corporate houses like Suzuki Motor Corporation, NEC, SoftBank Group, as well as Uniqlo. He's having one-on-one meetings with the CEOs of these companies. Also, there will be a roundtable, Sneha, which will happen with a Japanese business delegation that will happen a little later in the evening. So at least 36 different corporations in Japan are going to meet with Prime Minister Modi. We're, of course, coming to you live, Sneha, right now from the world's busiest, I beg your pardon, pedestrian crossing. The world's busiest pedestrian crossing, which is the Shibuya crossing right here in Tokyo. So you can just imagine, the sense of pace, if you may, from literally on the ground over here as far as Indo-Japan relations are concerned. When Prime Minister Fumio Kishida had visited India in March, he had promised and made a commitment of 5 trillion yen over the next 5 years as far as the public and private enterprises are concerned. That is the commitment of investment which has been made. And there is an indication. We spoke with the Indian ambassador to Japan, Sanjay Verma, as well yesterday exclusively, and he did tell us that there is a scope to enhance that relationship. So India is obviously looking at bringing more and more Japanese corporations to the business table and to India to make their investments. And like you heard from one of the businessmen over there, with the Japan-China relation having in fact taken a hit, now Japan is looking at India. And like I can just show you the visuals of the busiest pedestrian crossing right now behind me. As you can see, a lot of people over here on the ground as well. So that is going to be the crux of his engagements today. He will, of course, be attending a reception which will be hosted by the Indian community as well later this evening before he calls it a night. But tomorrow, of course, like you know, is the big day when the Quad happens, the Quad Summit happens, the second in-person conference of the Quad leaders. Of course, very significantly, Sneha, before I forget, there will be a launch of the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework. The launch is by US President Joe Biden. It happens this evening. India hasn't committed to joining that framework. It's not exactly a trade agreement. It's a loosely arranged agreement between Indo-Pacific nations. US is helming it. India is yet to make up its mind. India is going through the documentation, but Prime Minister Modi will be there at the launch when US President Joe Biden launches the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework.
All right, Paulami, thanking you for the moment. We're going to come back to you for more on that big story. Paulami Saha is in Tokyo getting you the very latest. She's going to get us up to speed with all the minute-by-minute developments from that jam-packed schedule of Prime Minister Modi. He's there for the Quad Summit. The World Economic Forum kicked off in Davos yesterday. The Indian delegation led by Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal is holding deliberations over key global challenges. The delegation also includes Union Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia, Petroleum and Natural Gas Minister Hardeep Singh Puri, and Chief Ministers and Ministers from 6 states and business leaders. Now, speaking exclusively to India Today in Davos, Minister Piyush Goyal said the event would further help reinforce India's position as an important and relevant stakeholder in shaping the global narrative. This year's edition of the Davos Summit is particularly important for India as India assumes the presidency of the G20 in 2023. Several key issues including the war of Ukraine, geopolitics, COVID-19 and climate change are being discussed during the summit. The Davos Summit will conclude on the 26th of May. My colleague, our news director Rahul Kaval, has spoken to Minister of Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal at the sidelines of the World Economic Forum's annual meeting at Davos. Listen in to this exclusive conversation.
We're at the India Pavilion at the World Economic Forum at Davos, and joining us now for a special conversation is the leader of the Indian delegation here at the World Economic Forum, Minister for Commerce and Industry, Piyush Goyal. Goyalji, welcome, and it's great to have you with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul.
You know, what I find very interesting at Davos this year, apart from the weather, is that it almost seems as if India has taken over the promenade. You've got Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Telangana, Karnataka, and this huge India Pavilion. And Wipro, Infosys, HCL, some of the people at WEF were saying it seems as if India has taken over WEF this year.
Well, India is the future, and most parts of the world today recognize that the talent pool that India has to offer, the leadership that we have to offer, the policies of the government which are very focused to an emerging strong country, and the fact that we have 1 billion plus people mostly youngsters aspiring for a better quality of life, provides the world's greatest opportunity for other countries. And therefore, we were very keen that the world sees India in full strength. All the states have interacted with me over the last 2-3 days. They're all very excited to be here to showcase their states. This kind of healthy competition, yet the India first spirit amongst all states, irrespective of political affiliation, will help us show to the world India should be your destination.
The world's top leaders from politics, business, civil society, academia, media and the arts are set to descend on the Swiss mountain village of Davos in the month of May as the World Economic Forum hosts its first in-person annual meeting for more than 2 years. Here's more.
Will see the brightest minds, the most powerful political figures, and the global industry leaders, all making the climb to Davos. In Switzerland, a town nestled in the Swiss Alps, best known for its long ski trails and a beautiful scenery. At an altitude of 5,118 feet, Davos is one of the highest towns in Europe. And for the upcoming 1 week, it will also be one of the busiest. After a 2-year hiatus, the meeting will bring together nearly 2,500 leaders from around the globe and gather to discuss on a wide range of concerns like climate change, economics, geopolitical frictions, and much more, with the hope of improving the state of the world.
The World Economic Forum's annual meeting is normally held in the dead of the winters, but this year it will be held when spring will be in full bloom. Perhaps a hopeful nod to humanity's future.
The annual summit, which was originally scheduled to be held in January but had to be postponed due to the emergence of the Omicron variant of the COVID-19 virus. Geneva-based WEF, which describes itself as an international organization for public-private cooperation, has been hosting this annual meeting in Davos every January for nearly 50 years. But it could not take place in a physical format in 2021 due to the COVID-19 pandemic, while the 2022 edition had to be postponed from January to May. The theme of this year's 22 to 26th May summit is History at a Turning Point. The issues to be discussed include government policies and business strategies against a backdrop of the global pandemic and the war in Ukraine, and also the geo-economic challenges. The 5-day meeting will focus on 6 thematic pillars. These include fostering the global and regional cooperation, securing the economic recovery, and shaping a new era of growth. Strengthening health resilience beyond the pandemic for future threats, safeguarding climate, food and nature, driving industry transformation, and harnessing the power of fourth industrial revolution. The organizers expected to offer time and space for meaningful in-person exchange that has been impossible on this scale since the onset of the pandemic. More than 2,000 participants, including global leaders from business, media and civil society, will contribute their expertise and insights to over 400 sessions. The meeting will also convene 300 public figures comprising heads of state and government and the heads of international organizations, as well as ministers of foreign affairs, economy, finance, trade, energy, and a range of additional portfolios from G7, G20 and other relevant economies. Indian participants at the event are expected to include government leaders and over 100 CEOs, including Adani Group's Gautam Adani, Reliance Industries' Mukesh Ambani and his 2 children Isha and Akash, Bajaj Finserv's Sanjeev Bajaj, Aditya Birla Group's Kumar Mangalam Birla, Tata Sons' N. Chandrasekharan, Axis Bank's Amitabh Chaudhary, HCL Tech's Roshni Nadar Malhotra, Infosys' Salil Parekh, Serum Institute's Adar Poonawala, Wipro's Rishad Premji, Paytm's Vijay Shekhar Sharma, Renew Power's Sumant Sinha and Tata Steel's TV Narendran. It is expected to be the first of this scale attended by international leaders from all sections of the society, including from the government, business and civil society sides since the pandemic. Several sessions of the week-long summit are expected to focus on India, in addition to issues of global importance such as the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine conflict.
The meeting convenes at a strategic point where public figures and global leaders will meet in person to reconnect, exchange insights, gain fresh perspectives and advance solutions to emerging new challenges for the future.
Tune in to India Today as our top editors Rahul Kanwal and Siddharth Zarabi get you exclusive coverage of the World Economic Forum from Davos and insightful conversations with top global leaders from the world of business and politics to find out what the future holds for the world amid rising new challenges.